Just start.
Alright. And good afternoon, viewers, and welcome to another Jamaica webinar. And we have with us Mr. Dwayne Samuels.
Well, we're not seeing it in the camera, that's why.
No,
Well, don't worry about it. We're gonna actually edit it afterwards.
welcome to another Jamaica webinar 2016, and we have together with us Mr. Dwayne Samuels. Mr. Dwayne Samuels is a software engineer and also an entrepreneur. And we'll hand over to our interviewer for the Miss Casey and Bickford.
Okay, so I'm just going to go right into it. Where are you from?
I'm from Mandeville, Jamaica. And that's from a small community called Old England. It's a very small community, around 15 minutes away from Mandeville. Very cool place. Sometimes very chilly, especially in this time in the winter. But yeah, it's a really great place, and I had fun growing up there.
That's really good. What schools do you attend?
I went to the first school I went to was the Old England Basic School when I was around 4. But I got in a small incident. I'm not sure if the audio is like perfect, so let me go a bit closer. Okay, come closer so I can actually. Yeah. So I went to the Old England Basic School when I was when I was 4 years old, and then I had like a small incident. This kid in an older class pushed me down, and I had a concussion. Was blocked out for a few minutes. My mother like transferred me to the Mandeville Basic School, and then I went to the Mandeville All Age School. Started from grade 1, graduated grade 6. I went to DeCarter College. That's a high school in Mandeville. And yeah, can I have it quiet, please? Thanks. And yeah, high school was fun, you know.
Fun.
And yeah, I did a bunch of different things. In 5th form, I was part of the school challenge quiz team. In 4th form, I did a bunch of debating and quizzing and a bunch of different things. But I was never someone who was involved in sports or anything like that. There was more kind of like a person who was always in the lab, you know, always just in books and always in the lab and not really like concerned about anything else. I was a classic nerd.
I can relate.
Yeah.
So like, what was it like growing up for you in Mandeville?
Growing up in Mandeville was fun, you know, like I usually spend. I'm somewhat an introvert, so I spend a lot of time alone. And pretty much I always just like read anything I could actually get my hands on, you know. So most of the times I always like live in my head. But apart from that, I had like a bunch of different friends at church and at school. And like in summers, I used to go to neighbor's house and play cricket, you know, climb trees, different things like that. And yeah, it was really fun. But I think like one of the cool things that kind of made me who I am today is the emphasis my parents actually put on education and reading, you know. So it's very important because like everything, like literally everything I could actually get my hands on. Like I read encyclopedias, biographies, autobiographies, fiction, every single thing I could actually get my hands on. You know, from early, and I even had like an invention book. So when I was like really young, I think probably in grade 2 or grade 3, I had this book where I actually just like drew things I kind of like thought up, like flying cars and like goggles you can actually see stuff through, and different things like that. But yeah, it was really fun. Had a really fun travel.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
So like, what would you see as your super goal?
I would say vision, perhaps. You know, it's really hard to actually see where the world is actually going, you know, because like, especially now, we're approaching a time in history where people call the singularity, where things are going to move at such a fast pace, like really fast, where we can't really even keep up with everything that's actually happening. So it's really hard to actually make predictions for the future, you know. 5 years ago, or 10 years ago, a phone like this with all the components inside would run you anywhere between $500,000 US dollars to $1 million, you know. And because of the way how things are becoming much cheaper, much faster to produce, a phone like this just costs you a couple $100, you know. And things are going to be progressively cheaper when in the future, and like with shorter time spans, you know. So I'm a bit of a futurist as well. So I spend a lot of time like reading blogs, following people who invent stuff, and just pay attention to what's actually happening in the market and positioning yourself to actually like capitalize on what's happening, you know.
Okay. So in 2010, your team from NCU won the Microsoft Imagine Cup. What was that experience like?
It was 90%, 99% work and 1% like celebration, you know, but it was 100% fun. Probably the only time I actually celebrated was like the 5 minutes we were on stage. But for the whole time, from we made up the idea up, we were just like working the whole time. And when it came on to the like building the whole thing itself, we had like sleepless nights, you know. We stayed up, we like got up like from 6 a.m. and went to bed at like 2, 3 in the morning, you know, just building stuff. And then after it wasn't our first Imagine Cup experience, you know. We entered the Imagine Cup probably twice before. So in 2008, we entered the interface design category. We didn't place or anything like that. In 2009, we represented the Caribbean and Latin America in Cairo. So we didn't place. But in 2010, we beat 96 different teams from around the world, including 12 teams from China. And we took the first place in the Interoperability Award, and that was really cool, you know. But one thing that experience actually taught me is that you can't really achieve anything good without hard work, you know. If it's not hard, usually it's not good, you know. So you have to actually pay attention to what you want to achieve, stick to it, and just work through, you know, and then things will come together eventually.
Okay. What was your project Zormis about?
So Zormis is an acronym that stands for Extensible Operational Resource Management Information System. It's a really long word, or a really long terminology, but pretty much the platform helps persons to manage resources. You know, so for example, a use case would be like, for example, you have like a bunch of farmers here in Jamaica, right? And you have mango season coming around, and sometimes you have like a huge amount of mango being wasted. If you use our system, we use a bit of artificial intelligence to actually tell people what they can actually use it for, what markets they can sell the produce in, and then basically get like a better price for their produce, for their products, you know. So it was basically that we actually used around the time when we won the Imagine Cup. We showed how the product could actually help the earthquake situation in Haiti. That was the same time, I think a few months after there was a Haitian crisis, and we showed that using our system, you could actually source materials like water, like cotton to make blankets, and toothpaste and different things like that, to actually put together a nice package that you could actually send to those who are suffering from the earthquake in Haiti. And that kind of like clicked with the judges at Microsoft, and we won.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, so we see that you're a tech entrepreneur, right? So what inspired you to be your own boss?
Well, like first of all, you can't change the world behind a desk. You know, if you actually want to like make something in the world, you have to actually put yourself out there and build it, you know, and don't really care about what anyone else has to say, you know.
Right.
And if you look on people who actually leave legacies behind, you hardly ever see anyone who actually like was an employee of a company, you know. And my father is an entrepreneur. My father is an entrepreneur as well, so I think I have that blood inside of me. And yeah, I don't like being told what to do. I kind of like just doing stuff myself.
Yeah. So what are some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur?
Well, pretty much you basically can just create your own future. You work on what you want to work on, and that's the biggest benefit ever. When it comes on to actually building a legacy or building something that other people want, I don't think any other profession could actually give you the level of satisfaction that entrepreneurship gives you when you can actually see someone using something that you've built and it actually satisfies their need. That's the biggest plus of being an entrepreneur. Secondly, it's just the best way to actually help the world. You build stuff that people love. That's a big plus. You provide employment for other people. That's a second plus. With all the effort and the work and the sleep you're going to lose and the headaches and everything like that, it's definitely worth it. So it's a really cool profession, but it's not for everyone. It's not for everyone. Some people can't take the stress. It's very stressful. You have high highs when you're really in a nice place. It's really high, but when you go down, it's definitely. So it's like a roller coaster ride. Yeah.
So those are the major challenges then.
Well, yes. I wouldn't say there are challenges. They just help you to be focused. I don't like the word challenges. I kind of like I prefer using the word opportunity. From everything that happens in a bad way, basically I can actually see some good from that, and benefit from that in the long run. The life is a learning experience, and there are no mistakes. There are challenges, but you use them to actually you turn challenges into opportunities. Yeah.
Okay. So what inspired you to start Say Magic and Quickly?
Well, first of all, I wasn't an avid speaker. I didn't speak well, or I didn't connect with people well. When, especially in university, because I wasn't a sociable person. I usually just stay around computers and just build stuff. So when I was invited to networking events, it was really hard to actually connect with people. And it was hard to actually remember who people were, because at first I didn't really care much about meeting people, but after a while I actually get to see the value of networking. It's very important. So we came up with this idea to actually help the whole team with networking, and we pitched the idea to Microsoft Jamaica, and they loved it, so they helped us out. And we spent a little time to build a prototype. We launched it, and we got some really good feedback. And from actually building something to actually satisfy a need, you could see where other opportunities arise. So for example, when we built that, people actually wanted something like that to use at events. So the second thing we actually did was actually building directly for events. And then through that, other opportunities arise. Because as a startup, it's based on each problem you solve, new problems arise, and basically you have to actually build to actually solve those problems. And when you actually fix them, you actually see it's like a path that just gets wider and wider and wider. So after building that for events, we noticed one of the main problems that that event managers face was actually measuring event ROI. ROI stands for return on investment. So event planners spend millions of dollars on events, right? And pretty much they don't really know exactly the value that they're providing other persons with and how they actually make that back in different ways through financially and every other alley. So we did a bit of research on that, and then we found out the best way to actually measure ROI was through simplifying surveys and asking direct questions. So we spent a few months researching human psychology, and basically, after researching that, one key component that relates to events and also every other facet in especially in commerce is emotion, you know. And emotion is something that's not really easy to quantify. It's not easy to measure. And if you can actually measure emotion, you can actually know how people feel, and emotion is who we are. You know, we're emotional beings who think, and not logical beings who feel. You know, we're emotional at the core. So if you can actually measure emotion, pretty much you know everything that's happening. So we're like constantly adding new stuff to Greekly. So we didn't want to like mess with that name anymore. So we started this new company called CM Logic, which only deals with quantifying user emotion, customer emotion.
Okay.
And basically it provides an additional layer for companies who want to expand their or improve their customer experience, because like customer experience like is based on 3 tenets. You have customer success, customer effort, and customer emotion. Customer emotion, as I said, is the hardest to measure, but has the most value if you actually understand how to use it. So yeah.
So for someone who wants to venture into this amazing field of technology, what advice would you give them?
If you're in it for the money, don't do it. You know, pretty much like you can like if you want money, go and work for someone.
Yeah.
You know, if that's your motivation, you'll just give up. The first thing you're supposed to do is make sure that you want to build something that people love. Money is important. That's the second most important thing. But the most important thing to actually keep you on that path is just building something that people love. You know, all the best entrepreneurs in the world, they don't really care that much about money. You know, and that's the misconception most people have. Like when you hear entrepreneurship, you say, "Oh, rich." You know, it's not that. I think the problem that people have is not understanding how value works. You know, it's actually providing value to people and actually getting value in return, and that's how you actually build something that's valuable and that's worth a lot. You know, so you're supposed to have your priorities in the right place. Second, if you need motivation, I think you shouldn't really like do it all the time, because like motivation is something that basically dwindles after a while.
Yeah.
You know, because you go into a place and then like hear motivational speaker like Tony Robbins saying some amazing things, and then you go home for 2 weeks, and then after 2 weeks it's gone, and you just like give up on everything. You know, so you have to have the motivation inside of you to actually say like, look, I want to accomplish this, I want to build this, and I want to do this with my life. And when you actually do that, basically you are motivation to other people, you know, to inspire people to find their own motivation. I think that's key. And if there's a third point, I believe it's also networking. You know, networking is extremely important. Like, socializing, yes, but socializing with a reason. You know, not just meeting everything and everyone to just like hang out with, but like meeting people for a reason. So what I think when it comes on to building value, your network is equal to your net worth. You know, so the people you know and the people you socialize around, you know, people you socialize with basically determine how far you actually reach in life. You know, so if you associate with people who are progressive, who like changing things, who like building things, you'll be that way as well.
True. So in terms of education and skills, what resources would you need to be able to be writing?
Resources and skills. It's very hard to actually like break that down into simple terms. Just say one thing: the internet. You know, it's the everything. It's everything. So if you want to learn about like design, the internet. If you want to learn about computer, you want to learn about programming, the internet. And just reading, you know, a lot of people like use the internet for Snapchat, for Facebook, Twitter, and everything. But the value that you actually derive from that is a very minuscule to actually like comparing it to other things, you know. So when it comes on to learning, I'd say pretty much there are like three platforms that I love on the internet. One is Udemy, second is Coursera, and three is TED. And those three sites basically help you learn things that aren't really common knowledge, you know.
Yeah.
And if you have an interest in one thing, in one topic in particular, you can just like go on and like see thought leaders who are doing amazing things in those fields, and then basically learn how to be amazing in that field as well, you know. So yeah, it's really true, and the educational landscape is changing, as you may know. Probably in the next 10 to 15 years, we won't really have classrooms again, you know. With virtual reality, with augmented reality, you'll be able to see someone standing in front of you. For example, if you want to do a course on rockets, you know, you could see a course that's taught by Elon Musk, you know, or you just see the people who are actually at the top of their game in that field, and in doing that, you'll basically have a bigger chance to actually learn things that can actually impact you, affecting the whole industry.
Well, so it's really cool that you got invited to the White House by President Barack Obama. It's like, what was that like for you?
Well, it's not the White House.
No,
well, it's pretty much like when he was here in Jamaica.
Yeah.
I got an invitation to be a part of other persons there
Meeting.
who met him. You know, it was really a really cool experience, and that's one thing. When he got elected, I really wanted to meet him. You know, and I finally got the chance. He is very special. He's a very special human being. I don't think there's anyone else, no other leader in the world or in history that has it's just like really across the board. He just knows, I wouldn't say everything about everything, but he knows a lot about everything. You know, and he knows how to manage things. You know, and yeah, you can actually see that in the way how he communicates with people. When he went to Africa, he spoke in African dialects. When he came to Jamaica, he greeted us in patois.
Yeah.
You know, anywhere he goes, he knows how to be culturally contextual. You know, and yeah, and that doesn't only apply geographically, also in every other alley. You know, so for example, they were having like this just last Friday or Saturday, they had like this celebration to Ray Charles, and he went up on the stage and started singing a Ray Charles song. And then I think it was sometime last year they had like a Chris Brown, not Chris Brown, his name is I don't remember his last name, James Brown. Is it James Brown? I think so. But he was singing a song, just like the guy, you know. And it just shows how he can actually relate to people. You know, no matter where you're from, no matter your background or anything, they can actually relate to you. And that's one really cool quality to have as an entrepreneur. You need to be relatable. If people don't understand you, they don't care about you. You know, so that's one thing that's really important. Not you only as an entrepreneur as well, but also in the office. You know, that's the way we actually have influence over people. Well, not influence. Probably influence over people is a bad way to actually say it, but being influential. You know. It's just by understanding people, having empathy, and just trying to be human and helping them accomplish what they want to accomplish.
So it's really exciting to see all the different countries that you visited. There's Poland, Costa Rica, Egypt, and Malaysia. What was your favorite?
Actually, definitely Malaysia. Like, it's very weird. A lot of people in Malaysia don't speak English, but they're just so friendly, you know. And I think that translates to most Asian countries as well. You know, there's just a sense of pride and humility that they just have in themselves as persons. And you can actually see that resonating throughout the whole country or the whole region itself. And yeah, like I went to Malaysia, I lost my passport. I didn't know how to get back to the airport. I couldn't read like Malaysian and everything. I had like some English subtitles, yes, and yeah, some things in English, but I couldn't like understand exactly where to go. So I went to the train station. And I think there were like 3 stops before actually going to the airport. And as I was like buying the ticket, I asked someone like, "What does this mean?" He asked me like if why don't I understand Malaysia. I told him I was from Jamaica and I actually lost my passport and I wanted to go to the airport. It turns out like he was a bank manager who has like branches in Germany and Malaysia and I think probably in China, who was going to the airport as well. You know, so he said, "Okay, just follow me. I'm going to the airport." And yeah, we just like talked about Malaysia. We talked about my country, Jamaica. And basically it was really cool and that was like when I kind of noticed that it was a really amazing country, and from like seeing that I kind of like noticed it everywhere, you know, the street vendors on the side of the road to those at the hotel to everyone just was really cool, you know.
Like when you went to these different countries, did you experience culture shock?
No, I wouldn't say no. Like usually I kind of prepare myself before. One of my favorite books when I was growing up was First Aid. Is it First Aid? Not First Aid in English. It was like this general knowledge book, and it's like spoke about like many different cultures, you know, and what's culturally acceptable and what's not acceptable. And it's so funny that sometimes when you're speaking right now, you don't remember anything, but like when you're in that situation, it's like, oh, I mustn't do this. Well, I mustn't do that. And yeah, so it doesn't really like shock me that much when I see like some outlandish stuff. Yeah, so I'm prepared.
So finally, last question from me. What advice would you give the young people of Jamaica?
If you see something that you don't like, change it. You know, it's not impossible for you to change. There's no difference between you and Albert Einstein. You have the same brain. There's no difference between you and Barack Obama. You know, there's no difference between you and the person who you have in high esteem. You know, and that's all. Like we're very powerful human beings. You know, anything that we put our minds to, we can actually accomplish. You know, so if you want to be the best entrepreneur in the world, it's not impossible. And yeah, just don't be held back by what people say. And yeah, just do what you want to do.
Yeah. You guys have any questions?
Yes, I have a question.
Hey.
I remember while you were speaking, you said you don't like people telling you things, so you don't like to do things the way they are to be done, like doing it new or so. Did it cause a problem towards you being successful, not liking taking instructions?
Well, it's always going to cause a problem. If you don't have problems, something's definitely wrong. If you want to change the way things are, people will like go against you, you know. And don't take it in the wrong way. I don't mean like accepting orders from people and like doing it disrespectfully. You know, there are certain ways to go about doing things that are correct, and certain ways to go about doing things that are incorrect. You know. So yeah, if someone's telling you something and you definitely know that's not the way it's supposed to be done, you know, you respectfully tell them that no, this is not the way it's supposed to be done, and I can do it a better way. You know, so in everything that you do, you should always have like a degree of respect, and respect goes both ways. If you don't respect someone, they won't respect you. You know, if you respect someone, even if they're not respecting you, they have to respect you in the end. That's the way it works. So yeah.
You know how like most people would say do something like you know you have talents and let's say embrace your talent. What if you don't find your talent, or if you don't know what exactly your talent is? What advice would you give to somebody like that?
Find a mentor.
Find a mentor.
Yeah. So if you have somebody that you look up to, you like what they're doing, and you want to see yourself, you want to be in their position in like in 5-10 years, you know. Find that person, talk to them, ask them what got them motivated. You know, and in doing that, you can find your own motivation. You know, mentors are very important for success. Sometimes people overlook it, and one thing I really hate is when people say that, look, I did this by myself. You know, I'm self-made. Like no one else helped me. Like that's a lie. You can never be successful without other people helping you. You know, so find a mentor. And if you don't know exactly what you're where you're doing, it's not a problem. Like tons of people have like been there before, but they've found mentors. So yeah.
No Lee Chong Wei.
Say?
No Lee Chong Wei.
That Chinese.
Malay.
Lee Chang Wei. Is that a person or a slang?
Person.
No, I don't. Sorry.
Okay, so
And then
it's like
Okay,
we're
great.
finished now.
Thank you guys for having me. It's
Thanks
cool
for
being here.
coming.
Nice questions.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay, we have come to the end of another Dream Jamaica webinar. Tune in next time.